This is a really it was a really good game. I remember people saying in reviews that this game was very easy. Maybe the old version, the original Super NES, maybe. Pixel Master, it's not that easy. The blast boss was something, and many enemies are just like there to wreck you. So yeah, I really enjoyed the game. Final Fantasy IV was really fun. It's a good game. The only thing that I think is not great about it is, like I said earlier, like the story. I mean, the story is good. It's more just like the characters like, oh, I'm gonna sacrifice myself. It happens so often, and there's so many times there's no consequences. It's like it removes the effects. It's like if Yang died at the end and stuff, or maybe like could have like endings. Like if you didn't do something or like didn't do a side quest to save this person, that you wouldn't be there. You would have died. Like I think it would have been really cool. If whoops, you know how we have to go all the way down to the Self Cave for Yang, but all you get is the Self Summon. I wish that you go down there, you go find Yang, and then you have to do a side quest and find some item in a an optional dungeon where you need to find some kind of herb or some kind of trial for the fairies to let them Yang come back to help you, or just to make him feel better. So like he's there at the ending cutscene, and for the aftermath cutscene, if you didn't do the side quest that's help the characters, because they all get like in bed hurt, very hurt, right? Like if you don't do a side quest for them, well, they won't be survive. They won't survive. They won't be there in the aftermath. They won't be there in the last cutscene. You'll have a different cutscene, so in theory, a different ending for which character you help. And the character, like when they feel better, they'll be like, there's a Mariko Nishizawa. Hey, I'm in there. Oh, sweet. That's good. I'm a staff member. That's cool. But yeah, that's like the one thing I have to say, really. But then, like I said, it's the first game in the three Final Fantasy where there was a lot of characters, a lot of party members. Obviously now I'm spoiled because I played all of the Final Fantasy like the wrong order. So like seeing the evolution of how the game goes and story-wise, it's very different. Like the story of 12 is amazing, 9 story is amazing, 14 is it's amazing. 15 sucks. So sorry. 7 is 8 is better. And so 1 is like 1, 2, and 3 because they're like from the 1990s or something. I don't know where they come from, by the way. It's like the story of the game is hard to judge them, like how they did stuff, because like that was the first attempt. I feel like Final Fantasy 4 was the first attempt of them doing like a big cast and having like multiple characters like join and leave your party. I mean, they did that in Final Fantasy 2, but it was always the same 3 party member, and the guest will die at some point. So like it was done, but it wasn't like super well done. Final Fantasy 2 did it almost better because the death meant something. Like there was a girl who was sad of that dying. We lost a very strong white mage that was the help of the queen, and some other dude that I forgot. But you know, like there was more weight. We lost the last, and we got the last. No, the last dragon died too at some point. Then we got the Dark Knight, which was then the enemy that then came with us. You know, like there was no reasoning and stuff behind the deaths and stuff of the guest character. I think it was better done as the personality of the other character, or like the reasoning why they were helping. I know, like, please understand. The only thing I'm judging Final Fantasy IV is the character deaths and how just trivial they seem. It's like, I'm gonna blow myself up and block the underworld. He's fine. Found him on the floor. He's in the infirmary of the dwarf now. He fits there. Yeah, sure. Yang blocks a cannon, and he's found out of nowhere in a self cave. He was in the freaking Babel Tower. How the fuck did he land in there? There's only the death of the old dude that cast meteor, sacrificed himself to get sub Golbez. Like that was a good point, right? That was a good point. I feel like they took that from Final Fantasy 3 because there was the one guy that jump off in a furnace and like was supposed to like kill himself to save the tower and stuff, but no, he lived. He lived. like Like, it was not impactful enough, which is I feel brought the game a bit more down in terms of narrative. But the rest game was great. The gameplay was great, except Cecil. Like when we got Cecil as a paladin, it was amazing. He was learning some spell and all that, but then he just kind of stopped learning spell. Also, that his intellect was just not great at all, so his healing was just not great and worth using. Early game was great, but like mid end game, literally useless. I use it still because it helped a bit for some heavy damage to like pad a bit on the heal. But other than that, like the character switching and coming back and leaving and stuff, I think was done really well. It was the first time doing like leaving, coming back, party changing often while keeping the same base character. I thought it was well done. It's just the reason why some level like Kain, it's just like there's some high, there's some low and high in the story. Like when the whole like the whole start and mid game is like, it's good story, but there's some spot was like there's some weird spot, but it's okay. But then the end dish of the game, as the fact that I've been playing for 5 hours, yeah, I got hooked at the end when we talk about the moon, the lunar well, and we're like, I'm going to the freaking moon. I was like, yes. Then we got lore given by the old dude, and then it was like Golbez with more lore. We got a bit more story with Cecil, which was great because we got nothing from him for the whole game after the paladin. And yeah, the end of the game is very solid. The last dungeon is very hard with a lot of hard enemies. I got at the end it was pretty easy because I did the whole dungeon like twice, so I was slightly over leveled, but I kind of needed those levels for the last boss. The last boss was really hard. So far, all these pixel remastered bosses, final boss, they're actually very hard. I love that you had to go get like unique, like the strongest weapon. You have to search the dungeon, kind of like the Pandemonium. Crystal Tower was also kind of thing. You know, they keep the same stuff. The hardest weapon to find in the last dungeon. It's a great game. Loved it. Do I like it more than Final Fantasy 3 or 9? For sure, this game is better than 1. I think this game is more fun than 1. But yeah, that's in general like how I think of the Final Fantasy 4. It's a good game. There's some and low spot, but in general, it's a very good and fun game to play. I very enjoyed it. It was a very fun experience. For the usual, I'm ranking my Final Fantasy game after playing a new one moment. So I'll keep Final Fantasy 9 on top because, like I said, this is the first time they did the party switch up, and 9 did it very well, and it was very like interesting how they did it too. Like again, the thing that bugs me is that it's not the reason. It's not like I'm not judging the party switch up. I'm judging more the reason why we lost members, and then the aftermath of then either didn't happen much. It's like like it very bugs me because it feels like it takes out of the narrative and like the emotion. Like, oh no, we died. They put like sad music and everything. Every character's like, oh no. It was like it deletes all of what they did themselves. It's like it just I think I have to put the game, even though how much I enjoyed it, I have to put it below Final Fantasy 12. Because I think 12 just story is so much more solid, and the gameplay is just, it's something, but I grew accustomed to it. So I think I know where to put it. If I put my favorite Final Fantasy game of the one I played in my list from top to bottom, it will be Final Fantasy. Again, by the way, when I say Final Fantasy 1 to 6, which I've not played 5 and 6, so 1 to 4, they're all pixel remaster, and 12 is the Zodiac Ages. And other than that, the remastered version of the games. We're good? Okay. None of them the original, by the way. So Final Fantasy 9, number 1. Final Fantasy 3, then 1, then 12, then Final Fantasy 4, 10, 2, Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 2, and Final Fantasy 15. I do not count Final Fantasy 14. That's an MMORPG. It's wholly different than the other games. And yeah. But that would be like on top. So yeah. It's a very good game. I really liked it. I love the side quest too. The one for like the Adventized, the Tales. There's also more Tale apparently you can get. I didn't really try to. Didn't really want to. So yeah. Man, I've been streaming for 5 hours.